Margaritas in Paradise. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the biggest mistakes I've made living here in Thailand. Most of them deal with money and women. And I'm going to get to that and try to answer some of these questions that people keep throwing at me. Stay tuned. Biggest mistake, number one, living here in Thailand, is being too generous with money. And sometimes you just have to learn to say no. You know, wealthy people, they have money because they never spend it. And I know a lot of guys that are like that. You know, we'll go into bars or nightclubs and that type of thing, and they'll sit there and nurse a beer or maybe a cola or a water or something like that. If you're interested and you like what I'm doing, consider giving me a super thanks. But many people that have been here for a long time, they're either generous and they go out and they have a good time, drink as much as they feel like drinking, and they probably buy lady drinks and things like that, buy drinks for other people, ring the bells, that sort of thing. And there's the type that go into a bar and they might buy one drink and they'll nurse that drink for hours. They never ever consider buying another drink, much less a lady drink, which is going to cost a lot more. You know, I get asked every day. If you looked at my phone right now, there would be at least, well, today I think there was only 4 people that sent me messages asking for money, and I have a policy, okay? My policy is no money. I would much rather them be angry with me for not loaning them money than me being angry with them because they can't pay me back. I'd be so much more well off than I am right now. I don't regret anything I've done, but I know I've made mistakes. Giving too much money over the last, let's say, 5 years out to people that I truly thought needed it, or loaned them money, which is never a good thing in Thailand. It doesn't matter whether it's Thais or Phalongs or whoever it is. You really have to be very careful if you decide to loan money out, that's for sure. You don't know how many times I've heard that I haven't eaten yet today, or I don't have a place to live. Easy to touch your heart, you know, absolutely. Words like that are emotional. And you have to be careful. You can be assured if somebody asks you to borrow money, that's the same as them asking you to give them your money, because they have no intentions of paying you back. And even if they have the money to pay you back, you're the last person they're going to pay back. And the reason why that is because more than likely they already owe everybody else money. You are one of the last resorts they get to before asking you for your money. If they know you have money, and I used to say this all the time when I was married, I would tell Nikki to never ever mention to her family how much money that we had, because if they knew, if we had an extra $10,000 or something like that, there'd be sure enough the trike would break down, the water buffalo would get sick. No, they didn't have a water buffalo, but you get what I'm getting at here. There's always a better use for your money than you keeping your money. And there's going to be times that there are genuine emergencies, and you're in a relationship or you have a friend that you really know needs that money, and maybe you can afford to help them out. When you do that, just be cautious. Okay, I always feel like I tell this as a suggestion for people that are tipping, for instance, and I'm going to cover this in a minute too. But you know, be as generous as you can afford to be. If you decide to loan people money here in Thailand, this is money that you can afford to lose. It's kind of like gambling. All right. Really, it's money that you can afford to lose. And that's the way you have to look at it. And if you get it back, good on you. Good on them. But I wouldn't count on it. Prepaying for just about anything, unless you're ordering something on Lazada or something like that, prepaying just doesn't work out in Thailand. You prepay, there's no incentive for the other person live up to their end of the deal. They already have the money. Things come up, plans get changed. You are not the most important person in their life, especially if they already have your money. 90% of the time you prepaying and something's going to go wrong. It's not going to happen. Even when you're making plans, let's say 24 hours in advance, there's a 50% chance that a better deal is going to come up and your deal's not going to happen. But the thing is, it's all a scam, and you need to avoid those scams, and you need to be able to maintain money here. You don't want to live here broke. If you live here broke, you're not going to be happy. And you want to live here on a budget, and you have to be able to maintain that budget. But if you're giving your money away all the time, it's going to be very hard to do that. So number 2, never take Viagra, Cialis, Camagra, or any other type of medicine, performance medicine, before your companion arrives. Now, the thing is things come up, and we just talked about that in the number 1 mistake. Things come up. There's a 50% chance that your schedule's going to change before it actually happens. Don't do it. Yeah. Tipping. You know, I still have mixed feelings about tipping. Thailand's a non-tipping country. Generally, when we're talking about tipping, we're thinking about restaurants. Different scenarios when it comes to restaurants. You could be at your standard type restaurant. One waitress may be waiting on you, or there may be several different waiting staff waiting on you. They may have a tip box, okay, up by the register, or they may include a service charge. Those circumstances there, you have to decide what you want to do. We were checking at one point, we asked some staff at a restaurant about the tip box. The tip box is emptied every night and divided equally with everybody that's working. But does that happen everywhere? I don't know. But I do know that sometimes there may be a service charge that's included. Now, another time we were out eating and we were at a restaurant, there was a service charge if the staff gets that. And the staff said, no, they don't get it. They don't know where it goes. So for me, I normally don't tip if there's a service charge. When I got married a few years ago, and Nikki kind of reeled me in from my tipping habits, and I was just giving ridiculous money, but she felt like I was giving her money away. She kind of taught me about how Thais in general don't tip. For me to give maybe 20 baht is good. It's appreciated. But if I start giving more than that, I'm looked at as maybe a buffalo or a dog, and I don't know any better. But on the other hand, generally speaking, when I've seen people give big tips, like 100 baht or 300 baht, I had a friend of mine that used to give 1,000 baht all the time. These people would go crazy. They loved it. Are they looking at you like a dog or a buffalo? I don't know. Most of my friends give 20 baht, just about for everything they do. You know, if you go into a nice hotel and you have a bellman that's taking your bags up to your room, they're giving you the mini tour, basically, making sure everything's okay in your room before they leave, I would definitely suggest giving him a tip. If you're going golfing and you have a caddy, the caddy is expecting a tip. I think it's pretty much given that it's going to be a minimum of 300 baht to 500 baht, depending on the course. Let's say grab taxi, Bolt taxi, grab food, the food panda delivery service, that type of stuff. I normally give them a 20 baht tip, or I round up. But say the taxi ride was 87 baht, I will just give them 100 baht, so they're getting a 13 baht tip. Now, not everybody does that. If you're Thai, if the taxi ride was 87 baht, they're probably getting 87 baht. And they might hand them 100 baht, but they have their hand out waiting for that 13 baht return. My final advice when it comes to tipping is you should be as generous as you can afford to be. And don't worry about what other people are doing. Incredibly stupid mistakes that I've made in the past is left my wife in Pattaya, Thailand. Never leave your loved one in Pattaya, Phuket, any tourist area such as this here, because your loved one is going to be fair game. And that's the way guys tried to explain it to me. But it wasn't fair game in my book. And somebody was able to come in and basically steal my wife. And unfortunately, I've regretted that. I still look back at that today as a horrible mistake that if I ever decided to, or if I ever fell in love again, the chances of me leaving that person in Pattaya by themselves is 0. Okay, so there you go. All right, if you haven't done so already, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. You're hitting that subscribe button. Hit the bell right next to it for future videos. Also, make sure that you're checking the description below. There's all kinds of money-saving tips in there. There's a link in there if you felt like buying me a cup of coffee. I like coffee, I like beer, I like margaritas. You can do that and follow that link as well. If you think of anything else that you can add to this video, please leave it in the comments below. And thank you for coming along, and we'll see you down the road. Bye.